guys, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to UpOnIt. I am Charlene, and today, as part of the sixth form and colleges series, I am going to be talking about personal statements. So I know there are some of you out there who haven't yet sent in your personal statements, maybe have started it, haven't quite finished it, not really sure what to do next. I was there, I get it. I was definitely someone who put my personal statement off for as long as possible, and so hopefully today I'll be able to share some top tips with you from my experiences and also from experiences that I've had with other young people who have done their personal statements in the past. So to give you a bit of background, when I was in sixth form I could not pick between degrees, so I was writing a personal statement for law, politics, sociology, English lit, and I didn't know which one was best for me at that time. And so I kind of was leaning towards English literature. I thought I like poetry, I like books, I like comprehension, I'm analytical. Definitely the girl in class who would always put up her hand to overanalyze a poem and think, you know, oh, this has a deeper meaning. Definitely that girl. Anyway, so I was kind of leaning towards English literature, came home, told my African father that I was thinking of doing English as a degree, and he asked me if I'd considered law. And so I thought, okay, I considered law, and I ended up doing law with international relations, and I'm going to do a whole video about my degree and how I found it at a later date, but that was a degree I chose in the end. So hopefully today I'll be able to give you some tips from my experiences that will help you if you are struggling with your personal statement right now. So tip number one is to stop panicking. We put a lot of pressure on you as 16 and 17-year-olds to kind of pick your life path and make a decision and stick to it, but I want to take that pressure off of you, and I want you to stop panicking. Don't think of it this big mountain that you just can't see beyond. Don't put so much pressure on yourself that you become anxious. I want to take that pressure off you completely and say it is something you're capable of doing. Think of it as what it is. It's just one piece of paper about you and about what you've done so far. So minimize it and make it smaller, and don't build it up in your head. And number two is to think of it as one step. So don't think of it as I have to pick this path for the rest of my life. Don't even think of it necessarily as I want to pick this as my career. Think of it as, what do I want to study? What do I have the skills to study for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years? Think of it as one step. And don't blow it out of proportion and think that you are picking your life path for the rest of your life. It's one step. So think of it as, if I want to go to university, I just have to make this one step. Break it down into a sizable chunk that you can manage, and don't overwhelm yourself with it. Step number three is to just write. So if you're anything like me, you like to get your thoughts down on paper just so you can see what you're thinking, and it makes it a little bit clearer to process information. So what I would advise, if you like to mind map, if you like to list, that's great. So get a piece of paper, split the paper into maybe 3 columns, and then you can use different color pens if you want, or whatever you feel comfortable with, and just headline every column. So in one headline you would put what your strong points are. So what are your strong skills? What are you good at? What do you excel in? What do your friends say that you're good at? What do you feel most comfortable doing? And then you're going to put in the next column what your achievements are. So academic achievements, any prize, any awards that you've done, things that you've been awarded that you're very proud of. And then in the third column you're going to put why you want to study that degree. Where did the initial interest come from? What sparked that interest? And why do you want to study as a degree? Once you break that down and put all your thoughts down, you'll be able to kind of see, okay, I do have achievements, I do have a strong skill set, and I'm clear about the reason why I want to study that degree. So put your thoughts down on paper. It doesn't have to make sense, it's just your thoughts on paper, just so you can see what you're thinking. Once you have that, we move on to the fourth point, which is to structure. So you can have amazing content and have done really great things, but if you don't structure it well, it'll just make it really hard to read. So try and structure it in the best way that you can. So you want your intro, you want your main body, which is why you want to study that degree, and what you've done so far that shows that you are capable of studying that degree. And then you want your extracurriculars at the end, and that can include any work experience that you've done or part-time work, anything that you've done that outside of your academics. So you definitely want a strong introduction, but if you are struggling with your introduction, it's absolutely fine to leave it. Write some more in your main body of your personal statement and then come back to it. But you definitely want to avoid cliches like ever since I was a child, or I've always known that I wanted to be a doctor. So avoid kind of cliches things that you would expect other people to use. But if you are struggling, again, leave it, come back to it, but you want a strong introduction. Then you want to move on to the main body of your personal statement, and that is your academic interest in that degree, what you've done so far that has sparked your interest or prepared you to study that degree, and that's what needs to go in that bit. So everything you mention in this part of your personal statement has to link back to your study of the degree. So even more than you wanting a career from that degree, the admissions tutor needs to see that this person is someone who's committed to studying this degree for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and they want to study this degree and it's something that genuinely interests them. So think about that. So if you are quoting anybody, make sure that their quote is something that is supporting a statement that you have made. So for example, if you are a med student and you're really interested in Parkinson's and how Parkinson's affects the brain, for example, you talk about what you've seen, what you've researched so far that has sparked that interest, and then you can maybe say, and this research is backed by this doctor who mentioned this, or my interest in this was also supported by this doctor who wrote this in their book. So any quote by any doctor or anybody else, a professional in the field that you want to put in your personal statement, only is there to support your statement and what you have researched and what you have looked at so far. So don't just avoid just throwing quotes in there just to show that you know some quotes. Make sure the quote supports what you are saying. So that's really, really important. And then once you move away from academic interests and why you want to study that degree, talk a little bit also about how the topics you're studying at BTEC or A-level or IB, how they have helped you prepare for that degree as well. So if you want to study technology and maybe you're doing maths, you can talk about how maths has helped you prepare to study a degree for IT or computer science. So try and pull as much from what you studied now and talk about how that has helped you prepare for the degree that you want to study. So once you've done that, then you want to move on to the last bit, which is extracurriculars. So here you want to put anything relevant to the study of that degree. So if you have done something that you think is quite cool but maybe doesn't necessarily directly relate to your degree, I would say maybe leave it out. So you can talk about your work experience and the skills you gain from your work experience and how that's going to help you with your degree. You can talk about summer school experiences that you've had. If you have a part-time job, talk about time management. If you babysit, for example, talk about maybe how to plan and how babysitting helps you plan. If you have done anything, any part-time job, talk about that. That's absolutely fine, but the most important thing is that you pull the skill out of the experience and then you put the skill and you fit it into the study of that degree. So everything you put in has to link back to your study of that degree. That's crucially important. So just to go over that, you want an introduction, you want the main body, which is your academic interest in that subject, the reasons for studying it, and then you want to move on to your extracurriculars. You want to talk about any experiences that you've had and any skills you've gained from that experience that's going to help you in the study of that degree. And if you are struggling at any point and you feel like your personal statement is a bit vague, if you think, oh, I want to study history, for example, but everything I'm saying just sounds really vague and sounds like everyone's already said it, think about the thing in history, for example, that makes you really excited to go to the next class. So if the teacher says we're going to be studying about American politics and the civil rights movement, and you think, oh, I'm looking forward to that, talk about that. Say, in my class I have done this and it really sparked my interest and I'm looking forward to studying or learning more about this during my degree. So talk about what you've learned so far, why it interested you and what you want to take further when you study that degree, if you're struggling to maybe pinpoint a particular area. And then one thing I always say as well, if you're studying economics, for example, if you start from maybe what you see around you in relation to economics, so maybe how the economic downturn a few years ago, maybe that affected your area, how you've seen things change in your area, and then you link it to the overall world global scale economics. So always start with maybe your perspective, what you've seen, so the micro of what you've seen, and then link it to the macro of what's going on in the world. And that will always, if you start from your perspective, it will always give you an advantage and an angle, because nobody has your perspective. Your perspective is unique to you. So that's a little bit about structure. And then next tip is, once you've got that together, you want to maybe choose 3 people who you trust to review this. So maybe just pick a friend, a family member, or a teacher. You don't want to give it to too many people, because then it becomes a hassle when you are editing it, because everybody has their opinion on how they think it should be, and remember, it's your personal statement. So maybe a small group of people that you really trust to give their honest opinion. And then we move on to the next tip, which is to read it outside of yourself. So read your personal statement as if you are the admissions tutor. Read it as if you are your academic advisor. When you read it like that, you'll be able to see, oh, maybe I should mention that, or I may have missed that, or maybe I should take this out, or maybe I'm repeating myself too much. Once you start looking at it with kind of outside eyes, you'll be able to see what you can take out, and it will be clearer to you, the voice that you are kind of bringing across when you're writing your personal statement. You want to sound like yourself, but you want to sound like the academic version of yourself. So once you read it with the eyes of a admissions tutor, you'll be able to see that. Finally, you know yourself better than anybody else knows you. So you know your real reasons for wanting to study that degree. You know what kind of generated your interest at first. You know whether it's because of monetary gain or whether it's because you genuinely want to study that degree. So think about your real reason, and of course it's going to show. So if you genuinely are interested in the topic, if you genuinely are interested in biology, it's going to show in your personal statement. If you want to study economics because you want to go in banking and earn loads of money, might show as well. So think about your real interest for studying, and then make sure that comes across that I do want to study this degree. I am committed to 3 or 4 years of studying this degree, and once you kind of commit to that, it will definitely show. So think about your real reasons and pull out a real reason for wanting to study that degree. Remember that you are the one who's studying it. So if you feel like someone's maybe kind of pushing you to study a degree that you don't want to study, maybe think about picking something that you do want to study, because you are the one who's going to be studying it. So those are my top tips for you, and hopefully that will help you through. Again, just break it down. It does not need to overwhelm you. So again, don't panic. It's only one step that you're making in your life. It does not have to define your whole life, so don't put that kind of pressure on yourself. And then just write, list, mind map, put your ideas on paper, and then once you've done that, you can structure it. And then once you've got your structure and your content, you can send it to 3 people that you trust, who are going to give you good feedback, and then you are going to read it as if you are the admissions tutor. And then always remember that you are the person that knows yourself best, so you make sure that your true reasons are reflected in your personal statement, and that it shows that you are genuinely interested in studying that degree. So hopefully guys, that has helped you. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment boxes below, or you could follow me on Instagram at Stayinguponit, or the Facebook, which is UpOnIt. If you have any questions about anything else to do with personal statements, you can also email me at stayinguponit@gmail.com, and I will be back next week with another video that's going to help you hopefully in your school, with sixth form and with colleges as well. So I will see you soon, and remember to stay up on it. Bye guys.